Hello, a special episode, and I'm sorry for the shaky camera, but I'm in the car heading to see another YouTuber or a pair of YouTubers, and they're doing up an old boat, and they've asked me to come and help with a little project that they've got going on. Now, can you guess who it is? And they're doing up an old World War II boat. They live not too far from where I'm based. So, if you guessed who it is yet? Hi, I'm Nigel, an engineer with over 30 years experience. Join me on my adventures as I build new, repair old and restore beauty. This is Bleeding Rust.
Hi, I'm Gemma.
And I'm Simon, and
welcome to the workshop.
Hi, so as you noticed, I'm here with Gemma and Simon from Ship Happens, and they've got a little project that they want some help with. So you've got this boat that you're going to be fishing on, and you want a windscreen, basically.
Well, a windscreen, because basically we've sort of signed ourselves up for the largest fishing competition in Europe. We've never done fishing in our lives, but we know a little bit about boats. So what we need is a windscreen to basically shelter us, because when we're at anchor fishing, technically the boat's going to be downwind and we want a bit of shelter. I'm going to be fishing here.
You're pimping it up, basically.
We're going to be pimping it up, yeah. So I've actually already done a bit, and then I kind of run out of talent. My welds aren't very good. So I've seen your welding, Nigel.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure. So basically we need to frame this in, because it's a bit wobbly at the minute. So frame this in. So I'm going to suggest we use this stuff. We notch it, because I brought my tube notcher.
Okay, so it fits in nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top and bottom.
Okay.
But we have got a bit of a curve on this, as you can see. Haven't we? So maybe if we put just a bend in the middle.
Okay.
Just so that it follows this a little bit better, but then still has a gap underneath for water to flush off. And just make a nice simple frame between these.
Yeah.
We're going to have returns at the back here as well, aren't we, for strength.
Making like a bit of sportier, wouldn't it, as well?
Yeah. Yeah. Quarter lights.
So do you think you can do a better job than my welding, or do you want me to weld it up?
You're really pushing me to right. I tell you what.
Just, do a little sort of cinematic of my. No, it's great. No, because it's.
I'm going to say. Do you know? To be honest, you've tacked it. You've done all right, but you've used a MIG welder, and it's not the best for it. So I've brought my TIG welder, so we'll get it TIG welded up. We'll polish these off as well, so they look dead smart. Okay. Weld all that up. I'm wondering on these.
Them both as well.
Do you know? Actually, to come to my workshop and have some welding tuition at some point, haven't you? So I've still got to hold you to that.
I'll show you how to weld today, boys.
I'm going to make a suggestion.
Go on.
Right, for your quarter lights here, that they come down and then straight out. Reason being, you can lean your elbow on them, while you're driving.
Oh, you look really cool.
That's really important.
Okay, you have to wear
as you're going down like that, you have to be able to lean your elbow out like that. So, no, really.
You don't get a suntan on one, just like one arm. Yeah, just like in Land Rovers.
Are we going to blank the tops of these off?
No.
Right, why is that?
Because we want to put fishing rods in them. Storage. So I'm going to get the head height here, but sort of the idea, I think, we can put our rods in them.
Right, so this needs to be strong enough then to withstand the wind against these fishing rods. That's important to know that. So we definitely want them returns.
Yeah.
You're only going to put them on the outside ones? Probably because then we don't need a return then on the middle.
I think the inside one is going to be where I'm going to stick my flagpole.
Oh, that's all right. Your flagpole?
I think structurally it should, once we've got these in, it should carry it. So
Yeah, and it's not a straight line either. It comes out and then in. So you've got a bit of a triangulation there that will stiffen it as well. That was
sort of the idea, but we've also matched the front windscreen, the geometry of the front as such, just to try and keep the same aesthetics.
Yeah, hey, I like that word.
Yeah, but the reason we didn't go higher because it looks really wonky from over there. It just didn't look. It looked too sort of like. Do you know what I mean? How do you describe it? Someone sort of just thrown that on, that'll do. So we might end up coming down a bit. I don't know whether it's sort of line of sight
over it. I think at the minute where it is, you're going to be struggling unless you're ducking down and looking through it. Maybe about this height. I mean, well, I'm shorter than you. I'm a short ass, so
we'll figure out. It's gonna deflect. The wind's gonna come over the top of it.
Yeah.
Right. So what's the first process we got?
Well,
today?
let's get a measurement of these.
Okay.
We'll get them cut in the notch. We'll tack it up while it's still on the bolt. Maybe even these corner pieces. Get it all tacked up.
Okay.
And then we can take it off and weld it up on the bench.
Sounds good.
I think that's the way forward.
Yeah.
We've notched one end. We've got the measurement between. You'll have seen when I've done the solar arch that you want the inside edge of the tubing, and that's where you set the hole saw. We're using Simon's drill, and it's a little bit quick. Yeah, definitely doesn't go slower than that, mate. No?
No.
Well.
I would show you why, but your viewers will not be impressed.
Bit of WD-40. Take it easy, it'll be all right.
Might have had some sparks then.
A bit warm. Nah, it's done all right. Look, it's done a good job.
Beautiful.
One more of them, and then we can start tacking it up. Right, so we've done them, and we've put a kink in just so that they follow the hull a bit better. We're just going to use this strap now, aren't we, just to hold these in place. So there's no left or right.
So just going to be a balance of that.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of it pulling it in. So if we put the strap round first,
it gets a bit of
and then just like one click of tensions.
Midway-ish or up high?
Do you know what? I'm dead clever, me. Let it go a bit.
You got to put it on there.
If we do that, it's going to pull them straight.
It will pull them straight, right?
You like that?
I like that, don't
I
you?
like that.
You like Fred Dibner? You live near him, Paul? Used to live.
I didn't. Some people say I've got his accent.
Yeah.
He is Lancashire, weren't he?
Yeah, very
Bolton, weren't he? Right, that's enough. That's enough.
Oh,
I think it needs to follow the hole, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
Down at that end.
So if we measure... Yeah, okay. What do you go down? I think
I'd go down.
It's a lot better if it was down and
if they weren't as big, yeah.
looking over it. But then you've got less shelter. But
let's try. I'm trying to get it to, a bit same sort of angle as the bottom one. Let's try that. Just get a measurement.
What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I think that looks quite good.
When it's like, obviously these will be chopped. So these will come level.
Pretend you're sitting on a chair.
Perfect. True. Is this our weather window? You hear boaters talk about weather windows, don't you, all the time?
Like your weather window?
Yeah. Of his and her weather window.
Right. Right, that's lined up there. A little bit more. I'm just trying to see where it naturally looks. Yeah, that looks a lot better.
I think so as well.
It does. It's a good position, isn't it?
You miss your workshop?
A little bit. Check they're still lined up. Down a little bit. Beautiful. taking his first steps into the wild world of TIG welding.
Well, that wasn't as good as your last one, son.
Yeah, I should have put more heat into before I put the filament in, shouldn't I? There we go. Sounds good. Show the other one.
Don't use that one.
Yeah, we'll edit that out on it. Right, so while Gemma's having a poo, we're going to figure out the angle of this. So this is for the quarter light. I think the easiest way.
Don't you dare use that on YouTube.
What? You're only human.
I was in the office.
You're allowed to have a poo.
I wonder what that noise was.
Anyway, I'm not bothered about the noise. It's the smell. Eyeing through now to get the angle of the.
We've got plenty of tube, haven't we, for when you cock it up?
Yeah. I've got the angle right, but the other thing is it's going to swing when it goes round to there.
Further away, isn't it?
Yeah. So what I'm hoping is, I don't whether this is going to work or not. I don't know. But here's my plan. I hold it on that side. There. Get my mark. Then put it on that side.
Get another mark.
Get another mark.
Halfway.
And halfway, I'm thinking, if this works, this is a. What we'll do is we'll film it again, and we'll go, this is how you do it.
This is going to be in textbooks, isn't it?
This is how, if it works, we'll say this is how you do it, and we knew all along. Right, I think we should get this one tacked on, and then it'll hold this steady then. So,
do you want me to tack it on?
No.
I wasn't going to say, but
Well,
I'm with Gemma.
I think we should let the expert do it.
Alright, do you want to drill in, I'll set the drill.
I've got the bottom part of that quarter light on. And if we zoom out, it's starting to look like a windscreen. These top bits here, they're going to get cut off, so it'll be flush across, but we'll do that when we take it off. But it's starting to look like a windscreen. I'm having a lot of fun here, I have to say as well. And then those two crazy kids over there.
Right.
Come to our tanning studio.
Right, let go, let's have a look.
I'll do this side this time.
So it's just so it's in the middle there, that's it.
Okay.
You get a tack on the end.
So now you put your face this way.
Alright.
There we go.
Get that summer tan.
Yep.
In a minute I'll be completely naked.
Feel that? It's only tight.
I look for the tax, like. Even the sensor's good.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's pushing out into.
Right, so I've finished tacking all this up. You can see we have a windscreen. Like I said, these are going to get cut off flush and then they'll be blanked off. And oh no, they're not being blanked off. They are being cut off flush because they want to put fishing rods in them and a flagpole in the middle. So this is ready for taking off now, and I'm going to weld it on the bench down there.
There's just one problem with them fishing rod holders.
What?
I don't own a fishing rod.
That's really good, that, mate.
Are you happy?
And you know what? We're quite good about eyeballing. This one was bang on with the other one as well.
So it bloody should. I burnt my finger doing it. So I'm back in the workshop after my trip down to see Gemma and Simon in their workshop and helping them put together this windscreen for their fishing boat for their project that they've got coming up in the summer. I had such a laugh down there with them two. The pair of them are absolutely nuts, I have to say, and didn't stop laughing the whole day. It was great. So thank you to Gemma and Simon for inviting me down. But let's get this finished for them so we can get it back on their boat. Now, apparently, when I take this back, the boat will all be painted and looking really, really amazing. So we should get the benefit of the stainless steel against the painted boat. So this is going to bring, as well as being a practical visor in a way for stopping the sea spray when they're out in the Solent, it's also a bit of bling. So once we've welded this up, we're going to give it a jolly good polishing as well. Okay, so we're going to weld this up, and with stainless steel, more than mild steel, but it's equally the same. When you're doing any sort of welding, the welds, once they've welded, they contract. And what that does is it can warp the metal, because that gets warm and contracts and moves. The welds themselves contract and they pull in, and they can change the shape of something. So, for example, if I had a piece of plate and I've got a square on it, it's all vertical, and I weld one side, it will pull over, and quite a lot. It can pull over quite a lot. So what we have to do to tackle that is hold it in position while it's welded. And the way we do that is to weld some on this side, then that side, and this side, so the pull is even and it stays straight. Another way is to brace it. Now, I'm going to do a mixture of that on this. Now, if I welded this windscreen up as it is, and let's say I put it this way up, flat up, and I did all these welds so I could get to them, and all these welds and all these, all the heat's going to be on this side, and it'll curve up like that. And what that'll mean is none of these bolt holes will match when we go to fit it on the boat. It'll no longer fit the boat. So the way to do it is to do some welds on the top, some on the bottom, some on the front, some on the back, and keep switching it about to even that out. The other thing that I can do is to put a brace in, and that's what I'm going to do. I've got a piece of stainless steel box section left over from a job here, which happens to be long enough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to brace between this corner and this corner, because when it pulls in, these are the ones that will be affected the most when it contracts. So I've got this piece, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit it on in a place where it's not going to affect any welds, so it's not going to stop me getting to any welds. And I'm going to tack that to the actual work. And then when I've finished welding the whole thing, and it's all cooled and everything, then I can snap this off, polish up where I've tacked it, and it'll just help to stop it from moving when I weld it. So now that I've got a cross brace on here, this is much more sturdy now, and it's not going to be able to fold in on itself when I weld on the inside, and it's not going to be able to open itself up, if you like, because it'll try to bend the other way if I weld this side. Not the easiest thing to weld, something like this. There's lots of curves, lots of round edges. So when you start welding, you'll start getting around, and you're already out of position. You can't get round. That's why it's up on its end, and I've flipped this over and moved it so many times just to get comfortable with each weld. And what I've got to do is just keep doing that till I've got around every single tube. And by the nature of this being the way that we made it, we didn't have a lot of time. There are a few gaps to weld, and I've just turned the amps down and filled them up, and everything else. But they'll polish up. All them welds will polish up when we come to clean it up. Some of these welds are proving, really impossible to get to. I can't get in these corners down there where these brackets are. These are just like rough cut that were cut. So I'm going to get my flat pad on my grinder. I'm going to polish this off now so it's the shape of the tube, follows it, and then I've got an edge to weld, and I can get my torch in then to get to these awkward welds. It's just one of those shapes. Same with this. Can't get into these corners down here to get them welds in. So I'm going to polish this off. Same with up there and all of them really. And then that way I can get into them awkward corners because I want to fully weld this up. I want to leave any welds missing. So yeah. Sometimes you've got to do things out of order if you wanted to, because my plan was to weld around them and then polish down to the welds, if that makes sense. But it's proven impossible to get in with the torch. So I'm going to grind them off now. Right, so I've finished welding it now. It's still a little bit warm in places. There are a lot of really tight corners because of these angles to get into, and I've welded as much as I can. And also this being second-hand tube makes it interesting, to be fair. So I'm hoping it'll focus, but you can see it shines up all the welds. It's come nice and shiny. It's a bit hard. Shine and gleam and stuff doesn't come out on the camera very well. It really doesn't, and I'll go to where it's dull and then where it's shiny. Maybe you can see. But remember, this is old, second-hand steel that they managed to get hold of, and it's not really. I'm trying to get it to. There you go. It's focusing. It's looking a bit better. So yeah, and it's shining up. You can get a bit of the shine off there, but it doesn't do it justice really, the camera. But it's shining up nicely. Obviously, you can see looking through, nice, clean, shiny welds that match the colour of the rest of it. And at the back there, that's the discoloration from welding. So that's what we're achieving. I've got to do the rest of it now and get it all polished and shined. And that'll be a lot of filming. So I'm going to polish it now, and then I'll come back when it's polished. So now that I've given it a good polish, I've managed to blend in the upright tubes with the 25mm. There was a good couple of hours of polishing to get it there. It was a bit of a pain, but that's what you get when you're using second-hand tubing and stuff. There'll be a lot more cleaning and polishing, but it saves a fortune, and it's recycling, I guess. What I want to do next is get all these tabs. I've got all these tabs here that Gemma and Simon made back in the workshop, and I've got plenty of them. I've got about 30 of them, I think. That's them there. Make sure that's coming out on camera. So these are the little stainless steel tabs. Got about 30 of those. I'm going to put them on the cross members and the upright, and maybe one in the middle of the upright on each side. I'm thinking 4 across the top, 4 across the bottom, and that'll be enough to hold the perspex nice and snug when that goes in. Now, in order to do that, I could mark where I want them, sit them on and weld them. And I'm sure that would work fine. But if it doesn't, if I don't get that lined up exactly right, when you go to put the perspex in, it might look like it's out. It's not lining up middle of each tube. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to cut some plywood sheeting to the sides of the window, make it so it fits perfectly out of wood. Screw these then to the plywood in the places that I want them. Drop the plywood in and then use that then to tack it. When I tack it on, it will burn the plywood a bit. But then what that will mean is that we've got then wooden templates to cut the exact shape out of the perspex. So it works both ways. Right, so I've laid it on the wood and I've used this. This is a straight tube. And these don't go exactly straight because we lined these up to look right, these upright, so they're not exactly parallel. So I've just lined the one edge of this board up so it gives me less to cut. And I'm just going to, with my pencil straight up and down, I'm going to just mark the shape of the inside to where to cut. And of course, this has got a kink in it because it's going over the shape of the roof. Slide that through, just make sure. I'm having to lean the pencil a bit because if I went straight, then the thickness of the pencil would put it out. And I want this to be as tight a fit as possible because I can get this as close to perfect fit as I can, and I can use it, like I said, as a template for the actual perspex. Okay, so I've got my tabs and I've got some screws to screw them on. I've got my wood in. I've got this just gently clamped down to the trestles so that the tubes are touching the trestles all the way around. And then I've put some washers underneath as spacers just to hold the wood at the right height so that it's running straight all the way around. What I need to do now is decide where we're having these tabs to put them on, line them up, put a screw in each one just to hold it in place so it doesn't move when I tack it. And then we'll get the welder and we'll just tack them in. I'm going to repeat the process on the other side and then do the same for the quarter lights. So I've given it a final polish, and let me tell you, that was hell. With the mixture of metals, because remember this is second-hand steel, so these 25mm tubes have come from a brewery. They are 316, so it's all the right steel, stainless. It's just there with varying degrees of quality in terms of finish, because these uprights, they were brush finish. These were natural finish because they were just using a brewery. They didn't need to be polished. And I've tried my best to get the polish consistent because I want this to be a bit of bling on the boat. So yeah, there's been a lot of polishing. You saw that I did a polish before that I put these tabs on. Now that I've got them tabs on, that just made the polishing even harder, because every time these polishing wheels got anywhere near that, they'd just shred. You know, hours and hours of polishing and a lot of swearing and a lot of frustration. It's not as good as I would have wanted it. But I have also got to remember that this is going on a little fishing boat. It's made of second-hand tube. And so when you take that into consideration, maybe it's not actually that bad. We'll see. I mean, it looks good. It shines. It's bling, but it's not to my normal standard, and that's what's bugging me. I think sometimes I think you've just got to let go and say it's fine. But we'll see what Gemma and Simon say, because I'm taking it back today. The last thing I've got to do is, off camera, I used those wooden templates that I used to put these tabs in to cut the perspex. So there's one. That's cut. All I need to do now is put that in, drill the holes, and I've got some stainless steel M5 bolts to bolt that in. So is that the one for that side? I think it is, actually. No, it's for the other side. But you can see, maybe it's that way around. There you go. So that's one of the perspex. It's not perspex, is it? It's polycarbonate, which is far more forgiving. It's stronger. So I've got to put them in. I'm going to put them in now and just drill the holes through the tabs at the back, bolt that on, bolt them on. Then I'm going to wrap it in some transport cling film to keep it safe. Then we'll get it in the car and we'll get down to see Simon and Gemma and see what they think of it. And maybe I'm being a bit harsh on myself. Let me just grab the camera and show you. So you can see, I mean, it's gleaming, but there are just areas where you can see I don't know, maybe it don't come through on the camera. Can you see the brushed effect there? But it's quite deep, and to get that any shinier, I mean, like, the welds have come up lovely and shiny. I mean, it's shiny. It's just not to the standard I wanted it at, but we'll see. Let's get the polycarbonate bolted in, and we'll get it down to Gemma and Simon, and we'll see what they say. So we're here. I'm back at Ship Happens with Gemma, and Simon's behind the camera because somebody had to hold it because I forgot my tripod. And as I've got your screen in the boot,
I'm so excited.
Some bling, and I can see in the boat. It looks amazing.
Ooh!
It's all covered in cling film. Stop it getting scratched. So it's whether it fits. Is it going to fit? Do you think? Because it did warp a bit when I was welding it.
Right, should we get it out and put it on the boat?
Gently.
Well, if we have to like cut it a bit and re-weld it, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to fit it anyway. So.
Do you know I've been through polishing this? You're not even funny. Right, let's see if it fits.
No, but it's got glass in it.
Of course it has. It wouldn't be much of a windscreen without it.
I think there is putting glass in it.
Right.
Do you want to do middle first?
Yeah,
or?
let's aim for the middle. It was a bit tight coming out. Oh, this side's not far off. What's yours like?
You get your side in there.
Yeah, same.
Right.
That one is. Yeah. Remember, we had to yank it out when we took. Oh, I'm in. Yeah.
High five moment.
What, are you going to wrap your butties in now?
You're not really going to paint it, are you?
No!
Oh, thank God for that.
Oh, no, that was too
I've had nightmares on this.
You want to see your face? How cold would you paint it if you were going to paint it?
Silver.
Shiny.
What do you think then? You happy?
That's wicked.
Yeah.
Solid.
Well, I have to say the boat's looking awesome. I love the colour. Can't really see the floor for the cardboard.
You want to see the floor now?
Yeah, show the floor. I know it's already on your video, but I just can't get over that floor. It looks so good. That is amazing. Fishing rod, Blackpool Beach, net. Thank you for asking me, because I really appreciate it, and I've had a lot of fun. So, apart from the polishing, I've had a lot of fun.
That no fun.
Well, I'm back at home, having visited Gemma and Simon and delivered that windscreen. Thank you again to those guys for inviting me down to work on that project. I had such a laugh through the whole thing. Enjoyed every minute. Well, maybe not every minute. The polishing I could have done without. That's it for this video. Thank you again to everybody who's joined me. I'll be back again next week where we're going to finish off that solar arch for Ben and finally get it down and fitted to the boat. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, take care.